What's going on, people? It's your boy Brandon Brevon Towns, host of that show called Sports Plus Life. And you know it's about to go down today. We got a lot to get into. So, turn it off, turn it all the way off. Ha! Yeah. Allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Brandon Brevon Towns. This is Sports Plus Life, that show where we discuss all them hot topics that need to be discussed about. If this is your first time listening to this show, definitely hit that subscribe button and become part of the Sports Plus Life family. And speaking of which, Sports Plus Life family, I have been under the weather pretty much since the last show that I did a week ago. I'm gutting this one out because there's so much that needs to be talked about. So many things that happened over the course of the weekend or since the last time we did an episode. So, you know, it's time to get to it. I'm tough. And today, it is the 1 year anniversary. The 1 year anniversary for Sports Plus Life. Yeah. The 1 year anniversary. And you know what? It's been fun. And hopefully there'll be many more years to come. Hopefully there'll be many more views to come. Hopefully there'll be many more interviews to come. I'm going to put my faith in the Almighty, the Heavenly Father. And just because you hear me say the Heavenly Father on the show doesn't mean that you're not going to hear me say some profane language, because you know what? This is my show. This is what I do. Straight up. So I hope everybody's having a good day. And so we can get started and get right to it. It is Tuesday. November the 26th, 2019. As I said, I'm still struggling, so you may hear me sniffle a little bit. You may hear my voice crack a little bit, but you know what? It is what it is. I hope everybody's having a great day. It actually was a nice weather day in the Richmond, VA, at least once it got to around like 10 o'clock, because when I woke up this morning at 4:45 to get ready to go to work, it was cold as hell. I'm going to tell you. It was cold and I don't know what, bro. It was cold and I don't know what, little boy. It was. I was like, Granny. I'm like, where they do this? Is this Richmond, Virginia, or is this New York, or is this Maine or somewhere? It was cold as I don't know what, little boy. But anyway, without further ado, let's get to it! Oh, I switched it up on you today. Yeah, I switched it up with the boxing bells because there was a fight Saturday night for the WBC Heavyweight Championship of the World. I mentioned it before I left the last episode. It was the rematch between Deontay Wilder and Luis King Kong Ortiz, who fought a Fight of the Year candidate last year in 2018. And it was like, yo, why is Deontay Wilder doing this? He has he's already penciled in a mega rematch showdown against Tyson Fury in February. He's fighting the number 6 ranked heavyweight in the world who almost knocked him out in the first fight last year. Why is he doing this? You know why? Because he's a bad motherfucker. And that's the only time I'm going to beat myself all show. But yes, I was of course intrigued and interested by the fight because as a fight fan, it was such a wonderful, marvelous fight to watch last year. So, I figured why not? Now, I'll tell you, the fight was going more in Ortiz's direction, as looked like the case in the first fight. Deontay Wilder was just taking his time. Ortiz was getting in little sneaky combinations here and there. Didn't really hurt Deontay. Maybe knocked him off balance a couple of times, but didn't really hurt him. But then in the 7th round, boom. Boom. And I'm not saying 2 booms. All it took was 1. Shot to the head, straight right hand right to the center of the forehead. And guess what, Luis Ortiz?
You got knocked the fuck out, man!
And then some. I mean, if you saw the way he hit the canvas, his eyes looked crossed, like literally, his eyes looked crossed like he was just in a state of shock. And, he couldn't beat the count. And, once again, Deontay Wilder has said before, and it's really true, because it's been a couple of fights where he's been behind on the scorecards and he comes back for a knockout. He says he just has to be perfect for 2 seconds. He says these other guys have to be perfect for 12 rounds. I only have to be perfect for 2 seconds. And damn it, that is the truth. That is nothing but the truth. But I will say this, because now, next up, he has Tyson Fury. And if you've never watched Tyson Fury fight before, for one, Tyson Fury is bigger than Deontay Wilder, and Deontay Wilder is at 6'7". Tyson Fury is at 6'9", and moves like a welterweight. Tyson Fury in the first fight a year ago, last December, was thoroughly outboxing Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder had to put him down twice. When he knocked him down in the 12th round, I don't know whether it was Jesus's hand or whether he was on some serious kind of dope. I don't know how he got up from that knockdown. He rose up like the Undertaker from a knockdown that anybody else would have just stayed flat on their back for, and then came right back at Deontay Wilder. So we all know Deontay Wilder has courage, because if he didn't have courage, he wouldn't have took this fight with Luis Ortiz. But my concerns are for the Bronze Bomber is that too often when he doesn't land the big shot, there are lulls in action where his opponent can just pile up points. Deontay Wilder definitely needs to be more versatile when it comes to his boxing game. Now, don't get me wrong, he has the ultimate equalizer. There's been no harder puncher in the heavyweight division that can drop you that can simply knock you out at the drop of a dime since Mike Tyson. This guy has that type of power. Arguably, maybe the hardest hitting heavyweight in history. Perhaps. He has the ultimate equalizer. But what if one fight that punch doesn't land? Or what if one fight somebody can survive that punch like Tyson Fury did? We've already seen it happen. And that was a very controversial fight because most of the viewing public thought that Tyson Fury won that fight. I'm going to be honest with you. I think Deontay Wilder needed that knockdown to pull out the draw. Me personally, I don't argue with a draw, but if they had said Tyson Fury had won, I couldn't argue that either. So Tyson Fury is going to move. He's going to be mobile. Deontay Wilder cannot just look for the one right hand to put him to sleep. He needs to jab more. He needs to throw left hooks to the body, right hands to the body, just a straight right hand, just to make contact. Because for Tyson Fury to be 6'9" and 265 pounds, he's very elusive. He's very light on his feet. He is a boxing genius. I've seen Tyson Fury in there, and I've seen him duck and evade punches. And how is it a guy 6'9", almost 270, is hard to hit? He's hard to hit. He is hard to hit. So if you're Deontay Wilder, you just have to make contact with him, because I would have to lean towards Fury in this fight. And I'm just being honest. And as far as Luis Ortiz goes, classy move by Deontay Wilder, of course, saying that there are reasons why nobody else wants to fight him, and that's true. Luis Ortiz is a very skillful heavyweight. I believe he would beat anybody else except for Deontay Wilder, and nobody steps up to fight him. I only believe one other person would actually step up to give Luis Ortiz a shot, a title fight, and that would be Tyson Fury. I don't believe Anthony Joshua would do it. I believe he would have to be forced to do it. I don't believe Andy Ruiz would do it, to be honest with you. So it was a very interesting night in fights. Like I said, one straight right hand to the head, and good night. Good night. And Deontay Wilder, man, still undefeated. His 10th defense of the WBC heavyweight championship belt. Dude is moving up in the ranks in history. He just passed Muhammad Ali for most defenses of that belt. Still has a ways to go when it comes to Larry Holmes and Vladimir Klitschko, and of course Joe Louis held the belt for 12 years. So, we'll see about that. But one thing that Deontay Wilder can say, because he's 34 years old now, Well, now that is seen as still being in your physical prime. 20 years ago, 34 years old was seen as getting old. 25 years ago, it was seen as getting old. But now, while that's still seen as your physical prime, even when he's out of his physical prime, he has the one thing that will never leave him. And when you're a fighter, the older you get, some of your reflexes, your speed may go. That power don't go nowhere. Nowhere. And if you watch the replay of that punch, to all my real fight fans, I want you to go on YouTube and watch the replay to George Foreman's knockout over Michael Moorer in 1994 when he regained and became the oldest man to ever win the heavyweight championship. Watch the placement. Well, the placement was different. Foreman caught him on the chin. Wilder caught him on the forehead. But watch the space. Watch the technique of the punch. Watch the way it's thrown. It's the exact same thing.
Atlas, here we go again with the Atlas.
And it got the exact same result. Foreman's, though, maybe have been a little harder because Michael Moorer didn't get up for about 5 minutes. Luis Ortiz was on his feet by the count of 10. He was on his feet. It's weird. The rest of his body wasn't wasn't up. That's why the referee stopped the fight. His 2 feet were up, but his head was still on the canvas. I'm like, what? But Michael Moorer was out. Michael Moorer was flat on his back for a good 5 minutes. So, and of course, bigger man. Luis Ortiz is clearly a bigger man than Michael Moorer. Man, Foreman got him on the chin, right in the sweet spot. But go watch it. You'll see it's the exact same thing. Deontay Wilder, when he sticks with that straight right hand, he's a beast regardless. But when he sticks with that straight right hand, boy, this boy is something special. He doesn't always have to go with the looping, wild, no pun intended, shot. But that boy is something special. So it's very interesting because this is a quick turnaround. This is the end of November. You have December, January, and then you're going into the end of February against Tyson Fury. So I want to see what adjustments he's going to make because he has to make adjustments in this second fight because Fury's going to do everything in his power to not get caught with that right hand. And he's the one heavyweight who's light enough on his feet to do it. So anyway, I just had to start off the show with some boxing. Let's go with some NFL, baby. All right, let's start off with the Thursday night game that happened between the Colts and the Texans. The Texans rebounded in a hard-fought good game, 20-17. The Texans won, so now they have sole possession of first place in the AFC South. The Colts fall to 6-5. To the Sunday games, just when you actually start thinking that the Falcons are maybe about to turn the corner, they go into New Orleans, they win, and then who did they beat last week? They beat somebody last week, somebody they weren't supposed to beat last week. And then you're like, wow, the Falcons are kind of rolling right now. And Carolina, yeah, they went into Carolina, and then the thing is they handled both of those teams. They beat them pretty good. And then you're like, wow, maybe the Falcons are getting it together. And they play the Bucs at home. The Bucs can score, but the Bucs ain't gonna do nothing defensively. And Atlanta does the most Atlanta shit ever. They lay an egg. Matt Ryan lays an egg. Tampa Bay wins 35-22 in a game that really didn't matter, particularly when it comes to playoff seeding. The next game was the Broncos and the Bills. Now, I called the Broncos to win that game just because I figured, because honestly, with our record, in the games we played, we have been in pretty much every game blowing 4 fourth quarter leads. So I said, this will be that type of game where we actually beat Buffalo and, because we're capable. But I was wrong. Yeah. The Bills won 20-3. They're 8-3. They have a good grasp on that first wild card spot in the AFC. Still not a believer in Buffalo because their schedule now, their last 5 games are very, very tough. I'll get into that in a minute. Bears beat the Giants. Trubisky was hearing the boos. He heard cheers at the end. They beat the Giants 19-14. The Steelers, Mason Rudolph was benched, and the Duck champion came in the game, and their third-string quarterback, what is that bum's name? He's starting. I just found out he's starting on Sunday. Hodges. Devlin Hodges. Yeah, I had to think about it for a second. And he is going to be the starting quarterback. I mean, they beat the Bengals.
You suck.
Bengals haven't won a game. The Bengals are going back to Andy Dalton. I guess they don't want to tank for Tua any longer. Or maybe they just don't want to be that team on that glorious 0-16 list. One thing that the Steelers did do by winning this game is put themselves in the 6th spot in the AFC playoff spot at 6-5. Because all of a sudden, wouldn't you know it, the New York Jets are red hot. They've won 3 in a row. They absolutely smoked the Oakland Raiders, who I said was going to win, who I said was going to go to the playoffs because their schedule was so weak. They traveled across country in East Rutherford, New Jersey, and got that ass handed to them big time. That's a devastating loss for the Raiders, but their schedule is still so weak outside of this week coming up because they got to play the Chiefs who's coming off bye week. Good luck with that. Another team who's getting hot all of a sudden, the Cleveland Browns. Remember I said this was that part of the schedule that everybody talked about at the beginning of the season that was going to get so weak. The Browns have won 3 in a row. Pay attention to them for that wild card spot. The Saints beat the Panthers in a very entertaining game. The Panthers were a very valiant team. They were definitely very valiant. 34-31. New Orleans can lock up their division this weekend, actually, because Carolina is now 5-6. They're the second place team in the NFC South, and New Orleans is 9-2. Seahawks beat the Eagles 17-9. I said this was gonna happen.
Biatch.
I said the Eagles were gonna lose to the Seattle Seahawks, and they were gonna be 5-6. I said that. I know I said it because I was sitting here when I damn it said it. This didn't surprise me. Excuse me. What has surprised me is that over the last 2 weeks against New England and Seattle, both losses, the Eagles' defense has played well enough to where they could win those games. The offense has looked absolutely awful. Injuries, age, no Deshaun Jackson, no Alshon Jeffries, no Nelson Aguilar, no Jordan Howard. I mean, you're sending out your practice squad players, but I'm going to maintain with what I said. I said they were going to lose this game. Their schedule is easy. They play the Dolphins, the Giants twice, the Redskins again, and then the Cowboys. They're going to win out, and they're going to win the NFC East. I said it. I'm sticking to it. Redskins beat the Lions. Who cares? Titans beat the Jaguars. Pay attention to the Titans for that AFC last wild card spot. So Derrick Henry is quietly, he's maybe the most underrated, awesome running back in the league that nobody talks about because he's on the Titans. And the Titans don't generate any excitement when it comes to playing professional football. They're boring. But when Derrick Henry busts out 60, 70-yard runs, that can be pretty exciting, seeing that 6'3" Mack truck coming at you that no DB, no linebacker wants to tackle. Patriots beat the Cowboys in an awful, awful, awful weather game. It was a terrible weather game. No touchdowns were scored by Dallas. 13-9. Controversial calls, tripping calls on the Cowboys that were not. I mean, I'm going to be objective. Cowboys got hosed with a couple of those calls. So, but this is the Dallas Cowboys. The Dallas Cowboys have beaten nobody with a winning record this season. I'm going to get into them in a second because it's just some things that I'm just, God damn it, sick of. And a Sunday night game, good Lord. The Packers and the 49ers, good Lord. Good Lord. Did you see the 49ers defense? Good Lord. Oh, my God. That front four, that defense, good Lord. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you guys something about football that you may have forgotten. As much as they've made rules to tailor the offense, almost to a point where you just might as well run 7-on-7. Because everything is tailor-made for the offense to succeed and for the defense to fail. But the teams with the two best records in the NFL, which is the 49ers 10-1 and the Patriots 10-1, What do they both have in common? They both have the top defense. Patriots number 1, 49ers number 2. Now, I've said this, that the Patriots' level of competition has not been good, period. But while they have stepped up in the level of competition, their defense has remained solid, except for the point for the night that they played the Ravens. And I'll get to the Ravens in a second. But the 49ers have been a different story. Good Lord. Good Lord. Have you seen that defense? Good Lord. Aaron Rodgers was absolutely awful. 104 passing yards. I haven't seen him have that awful of a game since a Sunday night game 4 years ago in Denver when Von Miller and DeMarcus Ware and Malik Jackson and Trevathan shut him down for under 100. It was that type of game. I mean, Jesus. I mean, this defense with Bosa and Buckner and Kayvon Williams and Tart and Greenlaw and Warner. I mean, and Richard Sherman, who has resurrected his career and has turned back into an elite cornerback. You know, this defense has nobody on their. This defense has nobody on that side of the ball that is over 30 years old, except for one player, future Hall of Famer Richard Sherman. Everybody else is in their 20s. Their front four is nothing but first-round draft picks. These boys are scary. If you were to ask me, who would I take? What defense would I take? Would I take the 49ers or would I take the Patriots? I'm taking the 49ers all day because they can get at the quarterback without having to blitz. Their front four is that awesome. Their front four is that awesome. I would take the 49ers over the Patriots defense any day of the week and 3 times on Sunday. And I mean that. These boys ain't. And offensively, people don't understand how big the trade for Emmanuel Sanders was for the 49ers. Because you have a proven receiver, a proven number 1A receiver. I believe he's a number 1 receiver. It has opened up the gates because we knew the 49ers were a great running team. We knew George Kittle, who may be the best tight end in football. I was trying to tell my man Sean this a couple weeks ago. He won't try to hear it. He's saying he's not better than Zach Ertz. Yeah, he is. If not better, just as good. Trending on better. But it's opened up things for Kittle, Deebo Samuel, Bourne, Dante Pettis. And Garoppolo is playing, ever since Sanders has gotten there, Garoppolo's numbers have been awesome. I mean, the first 7 games where they were undefeated, well, before they got Emmanuel Sanders, Garoppolo was more or less of a game manager. There's nothing wrong with being a game manager, especially when you have an awesome defense like that. But he's turned from game manager into playmaker ever since Emmanuel Sanders has gotten there. And everybody is eating because of it. 49ers are for real, man. 49ers are for real. And then the Monday night, last night's football game. Good Lord. Good Lord. Good Lord. It was the Ravens at the Rams. Lamar Jackson's Monday night football debut. Good Lord. Did you see that? Did you see Monday night football? Did you see, I'm going to say it with some emphasis, the Lamar Jackson era is here. Did you see Monday Night Football? Good Lord. The Baltimore Ravens, man, them and the San Francisco 49ers are the most dangerous teams in football. That would be my pick. If you would have asked me today, who do you think is going to the Super Bowl? I would have to say, based on the way these teams are playing, the Ravens and the 49ers. Lamar Jackson just elevated himself to me over Russell Wilson for the MVP. Not to mention he has the head-to-head victory. And like I said last week, good Lord, the Ravens aren't just beating people, they're humiliating teams. And these are good teams. They humiliated the Patriots. They humiliated the Texans. They humiliated the Seahawks. They humiliated the Rams. Lamar Jackson had a Jackson 5. 5 touchdowns. Ran for 95 yards. And what is crazy is this team is having so much fun. You can tell. You can tell when the team, and the same thing for the 49ers. You can tell when the team is just enjoying playing on the field next to each other. You can tell that there's something special brewing in San Francisco and Baltimore. And as important as the Emmanuel Sanders trade to San Francisco was, what did I say when Marcus Peters got traded to the Ravens? Good look. Good pickup. Marcus Peters has been balling ever since he got to Baltimore. Had another pick last night against his former team. Because Marcus Peters is not that great of a man-to-man coverage corner. He's a freelancer. He's a ball hawk. He will be a safety by the end of his career. But because he has good safeties back there, Earl Thomas, he can freelance and do what he wants to do as a cornerback, and it is paying dividends. The Ravens and the 49ers have something special, and here's something even more special. They play each other this week. Whoo, shit! Man, I'm telling you. Boy, football's getting good. Getting good. Oh, my goodness. Now, while I was talking about teams that, matter, something that's just been really getting on my nerves the last couple of weeks. All this attention that is always paid to the Dallas Cowboys. Let me be clear. I do not like the Dallas Cowboys. They are a hype machine. They are overrated. They're fucking stupid.
More.
They have an owner with a big mouth who I guess has the most clout in the National Football League outside of all the owners. But my thing is, the Dallas Cowboys are on everybody's front page report week after week, year after year. Why? And when is the last time the Dallas Cowboys have won a Super Bowl title? If you would listen to news media, you would swear out it was last year and the year before that and the year before that. The Dallas Cowboys have not won a Super Bowl since 1995. Ladies and gentlemen, it is about to be the year 2020. It is going on 25 years because they ain't winning the Super Bowl this year. I can guarantee you that. I don't even think they're going to make the playoffs. But yet, when I look at these sports debate shows, which I love, when I listen to talk radio, what are they talking about? Oh, Jerry Jones said he was frustrated with the coaching of the Dallas Cowboys to lead off the show. Who cares?
These nuts.
You're giving a team that does not deserve attention. I'm sorry. I don't care. Well, if it's Dallas, they make news. They only make news because you feed into it.
What about the wiener?
I'm a first take fanatic. How in the hell do you lead off with Dallas losing to New England? Maybe because it's New England. They're the defending Super Bowl champions, where that's a little bit excusable. But goodness gracious. Did you see how Aaron Rodgers looked against the 10-1 49ers and Green Bay, who was an 8-2 team? Lead off with that. But like I said, the only pass I'll give for that is because they were playing the Patriots. The problem is, if Dallas was playing Detroit, it would lead off on these shows. And it's ridiculous. It's sickening. You're talking about a team that has accomplished nothing. You're talking about a fan base that has a bunch of 90s babies that want to talk about how about them Cowboys. You don't know nothing about Cowboys and success because you don't remember it. Maybe if you were born in 1990, but you don't remember it. I mean, the Cowboys are talked about all the time like they are the defending Super Bowl champions. How many Super Bowl rings have the Patriots won since the last time Dallas won a Super Bowl? 6. How many Super Bowl rings have the Denver Broncos won since the last time the Cowboys won a Super Bowl? 3. How many Super Bowl rings have the Baltimore Ravens and the New York Giants and the Green Bay Packers have won since the last time Dallas Cowboys went to a Super Bowl? Not only went to a Super Bowl, went to an NFC championship game, damn it. Each of those teams have won 2. Seattle's won a Super Bowl. The Bucks have won a Super Bowl. The Eagles have won a Super Bowl. The Saints have won a Super Bowl. What has Dallas done? Nothing. Why does Dallas deserve all the attention that it gets? I don't know, because it makes no sense. Dallas has turned the media into its bitch, and it is sad. Hey, they make me sick because they're a walking piece of mediocrity, to quote one of my favorites, who also is on that bandwagon of having to talk about them when it ain't warranted. Talk about the job Mike Tomlin is doing in Pittsburgh with 3 quarterbacks who has the same record as the Dallas Cowboys, who've only played 1 and have a $90 million running back. Get the fuck out of here with your cowboy bullshit. I mean, come on. Let's talk. Let's have some real talk. The Cleveland Browns almost have the same record as the Dallas Cowboys. Really? I mean, come on. Come on. And with that being said, I actually have a Cowboy fan on the phone now, and I just explained to him exactly what I said about his team and the history. So this is my man Tony, and he's just going to give me his opinion on his team. He's a Cowboy fan. You know, I roast him, but this guy is a knowledgeable sports head, so I definitely have nothing but respect for him. What up, Tony?
Yo, what's up, man? What's up?
All right, so I told you how I feel about your Cowboys. No Super Bowls in almost 25 years, but they always get the media attention. It's gross to me.
Well, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. This is coming from a lifelong fan. I don't know that I'm grossed out, but I am really, really, really disappointed. And I think it starts with anything. It starts at the top with Jerry Jones accepting mediocrity for so long, particularly from his head coach.
Absolutely.
This last Sunday, you're going into New England, hard place to win anyway. You almost have to play a perfect game, but the refs didn't help, the weather didn't help, but our head coach didn't help either.
Well, I will say this, T, that those were 2 horrible calls. The tripping penalties, I'm going to be objective. Those were awful calls, but like you said, the head coach didn't help. And the thing is with Jason Garrett is that, and it's really, like you said, it starts with the top down. Jerry Jones does not want an actual football guy in there who's going to stand up to him. I mean, people have been saying this for years. He won't put a real coach in there because he wants to be the mouthpiece and the face of the franchise. And that has held them back for 25 years. As a Cowboys hater, I love it. But as an objective football fan, it's a disgrace. What you think?
I actually don't think that at all in this case. I think that may have been Jerry from the past, but I think Jerry, loyal Jerry, let's call him loyal to a fault, keeping free agents too far past their prime, keeping an underachieving coach because he's a nice guy. To a man, all the players basically say they love Jason Garrett, the man. But clearly, Jason Garrett, the disciplinarian, the guy that's going to crack the whip, the guy that's going to cover every facet, not just, stand on the sidelines and do the clapping. He's already lost the play calling duties. Seems like to me you could, make sure everything else, special teams. We have arguably the worst special teams in the NFL. So, at some point you just got to make that change. And I don't know what Jerry's breaking point is, but I'll be honest with you. As we sit here today, I fully expect either Urban Meyer or Lincoln Riley to be the next head coach.
I think Urban Meyer threw his hat in the ring. I think he was kind of low-key hating on Lincoln Riley, the attention he was getting. I think Urban Meyer was throwing some breadcrumbs out there when he said he would take the job, and that wouldn't surprise me either. That wouldn't surprise me either.
Certainly, provide some discipline because Urban Meyer's not going for that foolishness.
And he coached Zeke.
Yeah, that's true. But Zeke is a whole nother conversation.
Okay, well, I don't want to hold you up too long, big dog. So We'll get at it next episode and talk a little bit of basketball because he thinks my Los Angeles Lakers are a fluke. So
They are. They are.
we shall see. We definitely shall see. And I'll tell you this, I really don't gauge into basketball for real until around Christmas time. I have been paying attention. 14-2 is 14-2, but we'll see. We'll get into that next time.
Still early in the season.
Very early in the season. Very early. So, all right. Well, I'll talk to you later, homie.
All right, man.
All right. All right. That was my man. That was my man Tony on the line. Definitely knowledgeable dude. Excuse me. Cowboy fan. So, I'm going to let him have it. But he's an objective Cowboy fan. I can live with those. But the ones who pump their chest out and is like, we got 5 rings. We got 5 rings. We got 5 rings. Bruh, you know how long ago that 5th ring came? I was in middle school. I'm 36 years old. I was in middle school when that happened. So, anyway, now let me get to the topics of predicting the games coming up for this week. I'll make this quick because we have, again, in 2 days, it's Thanksgiving. We got Thanksgiving football coming up. Yay. And we're going to start off, generally speaking, when Detroit plays, we really don't care who they're playing against because most times they're not relevant to really be talked about. But what the hell? I have to pick them. I have to make a pick anyway. So the first game is, like I said, the Lions. They're playing the Bears. If Matthew Stafford's not playing, then the Bears are winning. It's that simple. Then an interesting game, only because I want to see what Buffalo is going to do. Again, to hell with Dallas. Buffalo at Dallas. I did say that I don't believe in Buffalo, and I don't. Not yet, because their schedule gets very tough. After Dallas, they have Baltimore, then at Pittsburgh, then at New England, and then home to the Jets, which you would think they would handle business. They need to win this game. All jokes aside, this isn't even Dallas hate spewing. They need to win this game because of their schedule that's coming up. They win this game, they're 9-3. They're in good position to grab a wild card spot. Then the night game is the Saints at the Falcons. Falcons handed it to the Saints a couple of weeks ago in New Orleans. But I think New Orleans is going to get that payback. Sunday games, Jets at Bengals. The Jets, they're 3 in a row. Andy Dalton starting again, but I think the Jets are hot. Titans at Colts. That's a tough game. Oh, man, it's a tough game. I actually like the Titans. I like the Titans to win that game. Eagles at Dolphins, Philly. You better. Green Bay at the Giants, Green Bay. One thing I didn't say, that even though Green Bay got embarrassed, their schedule, their next 5 games is very, very, very favorable. I think the only team you play with a winning record is Minnesota, which you're now tied with for the division, but I have them beating the Giants. The Red Hot Browns at Pittsburgh. They just played 2 weeks ago. We know what happened. Helmet swinging and all that other shit. So I actually like the Cleveland Browns. I like them to keep the momentum going and win in Pittsburgh and sweep the Steelers for the first time in, God, I don't even know if I was born the last time that happened. Redskins at Panthers. Tampa at Jacksonville, Tampa. And then, I'm surprised they haven't changed the schedule of this game. The 1 o'clock game, San Francisco at Baltimore. Woo! Super Bowl preview. I don't know who to pick. I don't know who to pick. I really don't. Y'all going to have to excuse me. No, you know what? I'm going to show some nuts. And I'm going to pick a team. I'm going to pick the San Francisco Ravens to. No, I'm just playing. It's in Baltimore. It's a cross-country trip. 1 o'clock game. I'm going with the Ravens. Which is going to be big because, the 49ers are only 1 game up on Seattle. Rams at the Cardinals. I like the Rams, even though I think the midnight hour is approaching for them. I said I thought they were going to make a run, and they still might, but the NFC is too top-heavy. It's very top-heavy. Chargers at Denver. Yeah, I want to say Denver, but I really kind of don't care. Denver. Why the hell not?
You suck.
Big game, AFC West. Raiders at Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are going to win, but I think the Raiders will give them all they can handle. I still like the Raiders' chances of making the playoffs because of their schedule, even though that was a big, big loss they took at the Meadowlands to the Jets. Sunday night game, the Patriots at the Texans. You know, my heart wants to say the Texans because they're in Houston. You know what? My heart is going to say the Texans because if they were in Foxborough, I would say New England. They're going to Houston. I like Deshaun to pull that one out. Monday night football game, which will be, that will be big, especially if the Ravens do beat the 49ers. They have the head-to-head on the Patriots. That would put them at number 1 in the AFC. Monday night football game, big game. Vikings at Seattle. I like the Seahawks. Russell Wilson is still trying to do his MVP thug thizzle. So we definitely shall see. So, with that being said, with the football, let me get into some of the NBA quickly. Because I'll have an extended conversation about the NBA when I got my man Tony back on the line. Simply because, like I said, I'm not engaged into the NBA yet. So when he says that the Lakers are faking the funk, okay, it's a long way to go. He could be right. He could be dead on the money. I will say this, though. I think that the Clippers have a better team. But load management could be to their detriment if they don't get the right seed and they run up against the wrong team in, let's say, the second round of the playoffs. Just keep that in mind. Okay? Carmelo Anthony, he's with the Portland Trail Blazers, dropped 25 last night against the Bulls. Great to see. Because apparently, Melo still has some stuff left in him. He really does. And the leading topics of the NBA, of course, the Lakers and the Bucks both have 8-game winning streaks. Giannis and LeBron. And right now, I think LeBron James is the favorite for the MVP. I'm not going to say runaway favorite, but he has been balling, And like I said, the fact that he said if he can play, he's going to play. He's not doing the whole load management nonsense. I believe that to a certain extent, but, just him putting that out there makes me respect him a lot more. Because like I said, the last episode, these NBA players who want to do this load management crap, when they really can play, they should be ashamed of themselves, and they're robbing the NBA fans. They want to make more money. They want a max and super max contract. You want a $200 million contract, but you want to do less. That's bullshit. So to hear LBJ say that, I definitely respect that. So, but like I said, it's still early. Although, the Crema Day game against the Clipper. And hopefully the Clipper will be fully loaded. That should be something to watch. That should definitely be something to watch. I don't know if I would say that there would be a surprise team for me in the NBA because it's 82 games. Remember after the first 2 weeks or 3 weeks, the Phoenix Suns were like 7-2. And everybody was like, look out for the Suns. Well, they've come back down to earth. I will say that. I think that people are mostly waiting for Zion to get here. I think they're waiting now for Zion, and hopefully he shed a pound of 30. But if there were, I could say, surprise teams, I really can't think of any. I guess my surprise team would be the Miami Heat because I knew that they would have a decent team. But, right now they're second in the East, 12-4 record. And my man Tony said, let's, give some credit to the Toronto Raptors without Kawhi, who is still balling and doing their thing, which is very valid. Miami, Boston, and Toronto, 2, 3, and 4 all have the same record, 12-4. Now, if I was to say I had a disappointing team, it would be the Portland Trailblazers. And Melo has nothing to do with it. Because before he got there, Dame Lillard and CJ McCollum was stinking it up. And they have a 6-12 record. And they would be my disappointment, especially coming off of a berth in the Western Conference Finals and adding Hassan Whiteside. What the Nuggets are doing aren't surprising me. Even with the Mavericks, with Luka, that's not surprising me because I knew Luka's a bad boy. And pairing him up with Porzingis, that's another bad boy. So that doesn't surprise me. Houston is around where I thought they would be at, around that 4th, 5th range. So that stuff doesn't surprise me. This might be the year that San Antonio doesn't make the playoffs. That's quite possible. Just may have to throw that out there. So, with that being said, where the buzzer, where the buzzer, where the buzzer? I love having guests, so definitely I was hyped when my man Tony could come and talk with me. But as far as the life section goes, oh my goodness, it is Thanksgiving in 2 days, less than 2 days. Listen, if you are above ground and not underground, be thankful. And that might sound cliche, but I mean, it's the God's honest truth. We have so much to be thankful for just as human beings alone. I'm thankful for the good times and the bad. I'm thankful for the good times because they were the good times. The bad times are something that I could learn from and become stronger and make even more good times from that. Sometimes it's by laughing at it, and sometimes it's whatever, So I just want everybody to be full, be happy, get a little drink in their system. If they roll like that, I'm gonna have me a little drink in my system. Shit, I'm drinking right now. But no, really, I want everybody to enjoy this Thanksgiving, enjoy each other. Now, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna do what I do every Thanksgiving. I'm gonna chill in the house. I'm gonna cook. I'm gonna watch me some football. I'm not going anywhere. I use Thanksgiving as a me day, especially with this year where for the first time in forever, I'm actually going to have to work on Black Friday. So I'm just going to chill and try to recharge the batteries. But everybody else, go be with your family. Go be with your friends. Do what you got to do. Eat some pie for me. Drink some eggnog for me. Eat some chitlins for me because I'm going to eat some chitlins for you. Yeah, boy. But anyway, this is Brandon Brevon Towns. This is another episode of Sports Plus Life. 1 year anniversary, people. 1 year anniversary. Hit that subscription button. Become a part of that Sports Plus Liga de family. And I'm out. I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.